Two questions there early in our calls. I'm curious that deal with grasses. John or Martin, are you getting that? John was caller, getting that quite often. Questions about that for the people when the ryegrass or other grasses?
Well, it depends on the market. That's not
we're in Iowa or Illinois necessarily.
There's some pasture. There's a fair amount of pasture, but that's where it would fit there. And there's a lot of grass hake areas in other parts of the country, and it as an absolute fit for use with urea in those systems, particularly as some of the other nitrogen sources are becoming less and less available. And so this makes urea a very, very functional product for those systems.
All right, we look forward to hearing from you, callers, wherever you might be calling from, east or west, north to south across the country. And here is the toll-free number for you to join us live right here on RFD-TV right now, 877-731-6733. Again, 877-731-6733. Harvest season wrapping up early in many areas, and I know many of you making plans for 2011 right now, and be curious to hear from you about perhaps some results in your area, especially if AGROTAIN was part of the plan. Love to hear from you at that toll-free number. John has called us from Maryland. We're glad you did. John, welcome to RFD-TV.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
AGROTAIN, used it with 30% urea, and it don't rain for 3 weeks. What happens to the nitrogen?
Well, good question. If you're putting AGROTAIN on liquid nitrogen there, 30%.
Right.
Well, when you do that, if it's that dry for that long, the whole process slows down. And so, the AGROTAIN is going to hold virtually that product, your nitrogen, stable for 2 weeks. 14 days was what we talk about. But if it stays dry for that 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the AGROTAIN is still going to be fairly effective out to probably a month. And if it stays dry that long, why then, the volatility is probably ceased as well. So it's far better to have had that in there if you go through that prolonged dry period than not having had it in there.
And Jerry, with all the test plots you have, anything to add for a caller in that regard as it relates to extended periods like that of weather?
I don't know. It'd be nice to have an extended period of dry weather like that during some of our studies. The same thing applies. That what Martin said is that in reality, what we see is that in dry weather, that the stuff really, AGROTAIN really works. It stabilizes the nitrogen, holds it there for really long periods of time. And the longer we can hold it there, the better off we're going to be to keep it out of the environment.
And Martin, you mentioned how AGROTAIN works and how it can benefit producers, and we talk about AGROTAIN and AGROTAIN Plus. I just want to make sure, as our viewers track along with us here that may not be familiar with the products, they're basically, you're grouping AGROTAIN into two different types of products. Maybe just briefly explain AGROTAIN and then AGROTAIN Plus.
Well, we have AGROTAIN, which is, like I said, our primary product. It is a single active ingredient in there, and it stops the volatility of urea or urea-containing products like liquid nitrogen. The other products that we talked about that Dr. Hatfield has a lot of in his research is AGROTAIN Plus and Super U, and those two products have two inhibitors in them, one for volatility, which is the AGROTAIN component, and the other is a nitrification inhibitor, which stops or slows down the conversion of nitrogen to nitrate for a period of time. Generally, we speak about it for 6 to 8 weeks at field temperatures. It will hold, and so that protects it against the very difficult product that our loss mechanism that Jerry was talking about, which is greenhouse gas losses or denitrification.
And both products available and used around all parts of the country. They're not geographically limited in any way.
Oh no, we've had good success around the country, and farmers and growers alike can go in and see any of their chemical fertilizer dealers that they normally deal with and can get a hold of it. It's readily available throughout the entire United States as well as the world now.